Yeah, we are live on YouTube right now.
Well, a very good morning. That too on a
One second,
Sunday.
one second, become 1 second. I have to upload the. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, a very good morning on this lovely Sunday morning, and especially despite the airy emptiness all around because of the pandemic, we can see that whiff of fresh air for the upcoming festive season. Nonetheless, that's quite a positive vibration in the air. And welcome back to the Northeast Writers Forum and Pen Chance Theatre Workshop with me and Sonia. And I thank the Northeast Writers Forum and Penchant once again for making this possible for everyone. It's good to know that there are still takers for the live performance, despite the situation at the moment. We at the Passion Collective, when we started off in the year 1999, we thought that our primary goal was to offer basically students who love the language, English, and theater, and when we were in part of Cotton College, exercise on to improve our language skills and in an entertaining and active manner, we thought of going ahead with the Passion Collective. Like we've done about 25 and more productions with various age groups, and not only acting, we had workshops towards acting, singing, designing sets, costumes, as well as a few technical sides on lighting and sound. And I'm so glad today to have Sonia with us. Sonia has been a part of our act, and she's herself a communication person. She's a singer, kind of a motivator, and the likes. And we, for all, did enjoy her performances and the time she spent with the Passion Collective. Well, the collective mostly puts trust on the English language productions because Guwahati then was growing into a metropolitan space and with the urban milieu. But we do have a few Assamese productions as well, like Mathu City, like we shared yesterday. But the trust area of the collective, especially when it comes to workshops and likes, was for the enhancement of youth theatre and and the camps that could grow and the camps that were designed and the travels we did with the productions in the club and the college fest circuit. We were conducting a lot of workshops and organizing readings then. And our workshops would include a lot of theater activities, games, improvisations, storytelling, group work, devising scenes, trust exercises, character development, voice work, and of course, not to forget performance skills. And like I said, we diverge in all the forms of theater. We seek to tackle new theoretical territory as well as to recreate stage classics as well. And regularly, we were trying to be on stage. A couple of our flagship productions then was we started off with A Street Car Named Desire, The Virtuous Burglar by Dario Fo, to Each His Own by Nicholas Bernard Kavonka, who's now a filmmaker, is up from Shillong, and that was one of his first plays. Then, thanks to English playwrights, Indian playwrights writing in English, and Mahesh Datani, who set a new trend altogether. The specialist, my mentor, my very able guide throughout in this journey of theatre. We staged his play Where There's a Will earlier, and also we repeated the performance a couple of years ago. Laughter Prohibited, Miro Gabran was a part of the workshop exercise. A play called how it reads TCH, TCH, TCH as a workshop production. 30 Days in September was another Datani production we did. Then we designed for young audience Merchant of Venice. Going Solo was a workshop production written by me. Then, of course, the Shakespeare Wallers, where we delved in soliloquies. Then, of course, Just Letters, It was an adaptation of Albert Ramsey Gurney's Love Letters. We called it Just Letters, and then again translated the same with the help of one of the powerful acts of creativity in the region and the country, Sanjeev Hazarika, who got into Assamese, and we adapted it for stage, and we called it Machu City. And finally, one of the last ones we did was Who is Manto, where we had Sonia coming in, where we collected a few stories of Manto, and we had Sonia, Jeet Chalia, Mala, the very young dynamic Hemant, and a few others. And also we had adaptation of Akbar's Tale in the Park and we called it the Park Bench Blues. But all said and done, that's one exercise we do very clearly in theater, is that we bring no harm. And with that, I would like to welcome all of all who are watching us this morning. I understand how it is on a Sunday, and I once again, before I give the stage to Sonia, I would once again like to thank the Northeast Writers Forum, of which I'm also an integral part. And like I said yesterday, that we thank the founders for actually creating a thought process forum for people writing in English in the region. And that goes a huge salute. I can rise and take a bow for people like stalwarts like Dhruva Hazarika, Mitra Pukan, Rashmi Baido, who's here with us today, our old teacher and presently a member, Lisa Das, and many others. The end list is actually endless, but these are the people who actually got the forum running. Meenakshi Borakotuki, Dhruva Hazarika, my mentor, Pradivacharya, and lots others in various states of the region, including Sikkim. What a glorifying moment it was to be a part of and still be a part of the Northeast Writers Forum. That's something that was sold very well, deep thoughts, and towards creativity. That's a big step taken forward by my mentors, and also it's like a family today. Sonia, over to you, and let's be a part of what makes us all human, and nothing better than theater as an exercise. Good morning, and over to you, Sonia.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with what Sir DCOM has just shared. The theatre helps us realize just who we are and being human. I think it brings that human connect. So that is something that really differentiates theatre from other forms of art. So once again, a very good morning to everyone who's tuning in to this workshop. Thank you so much for being here. This is day 2 of the Theatre and Voice workshop that's been organized by the Northeast Writers Forum and Penchant. So once again, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the two organizations for doing something this out of the box. I'd call it out of the box because we've never had something like this, perhaps in the Northeastern region, if it's been done in other parts of the country or the world, but never in the Northeast. So it's such a brave step by the Northeast Writers Forum. That's what they've always done, breaking stereotypes, doing something different. So thank you for that. And yeah, so thank you. If you may be watching this live, or perhaps you'll be tuning into it later during the day, but we just hope to bring alive what theater is all about and how it can change us as just humans. I think that's what DCOM sir has spoken about as well. So a little about my experience with Sir DCOM as well as before we start. I've been a part of his theater workshop, and I had been a part of the production that we had done in 2018. And we have learned a lot just being mentored by him. And so one thing I can share with everyone is that whenever we are in a part of a theater group, we don't just become actors, but you just become better people. And certain skills that I had shared about yesterday as well, about integrity, teamwork, confidence, punctuality, these are skills that we all need, irrespective of which walk of life or which profession you're coming from. So I think that's the beauty of theater. There's something for everyone in this art form. So in today's session, I think what we had discussed earlier, if some of you you've missed out, we'll be doing a quick recap of a few things that we had done yesterday. Like we'd spoken earlier, a lot that we do in theatre is practice. It requires diligence. It is something that you need to be persistent at. You can't ace it in one day or within 24 hours, right? So we're going to be starting off, I think Sadicom will be again teaching us and going back to the breathing exercises. We'll be doing a few vocal warm-ups. So we encourage you to join us, and yeah, let's just enhance these qualities that we have. And so I think we'll be beginning with the breathing exercises. And I just want to tell you here that if you're a singer or an actor, or just in general, you know, the right way of breathing enhances not just your, of course, it strengthens your diaphragm and stuff like that, but apart from that, it also relaxes you in so many ways. I mean, it's medically been proven as well that a theater person is usually less stressed. So I think, and that is something we've observed, and our generation is being killed by tension. So let's release that by actually developing the right way of breathing. So over to you, Sadicom.
Sonia, I take it from you there, huh? That
Yeah.
the theater workers have less tension because they keep themselves, they cool in the legs. But I'll take a bow on that, Sonia. Thank you so much, and I'm so glad that we actually try we should take the power to actually release that kind of a stress and be yourself. No wonder the senior theater persons, my theater colleagues in the business that I've seen, my old mentors, they're still mentors, but I still remember taking that first workshop, proper workshop, in the Cotton College auditorium. I mentored none, was mentored by the very special, the very dear Adil Hussain, who's we know who he is at the moment, but he was just out of the National School of Drama then. And I realized then that how important it was to to breathe, and the power of breathing for that matter. And like I was telling you all yesterday, that if we take this count, the breathing count, and it'll be followed by what Sonia does, but that is how I think we can start off the day today. And good to see you, Tina. You can see you there, but that's nice. So I would say that breathing is such an exercise that you need to be aware of. And in most cases, we are not. And there's a little power of breathing correctly. So, and the use of the diaphragm, and for people who've joined in today in the social platform, you will realize if you think deeply that when you are breathing, when your emotions change, your breathing pattern, your breathing rhythm changes. But we're not very conscious about this exercise. So, whether you are a theater person or you are not, doesn't matter. However, if you breathe correctly, you live correctly. And that is one thing that you have to be a little sensitive towards, because everything else can be kept aside. But try and think that if you stop breathing, what will happen? Well, there are people who can stop their breath for about good 10-15 minutes, but that's huge mind power, and that's when you elevate. So I hate this word I business, but nonetheless, I have to tell you this, that I've lived two parallel lives, but I was always very conscious of my breathing exercises, no matter what. And it's a powerful act of breathing, but breathe low as well as possible. Take it deep down. You could feel that it's going down, deep down. And with breathing low, add a S in the beginning, like I said. Breathe low and breathe slow. Okay? And it actually changes your pattern. Like I was giving you the example of the snake, but I'm a snake friendly person, but that's all right. So I will first give you a 5-5-5 count. So you're supposed to breathe in when I give you the count, say 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And my next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you should hold it deep within. And on my next 5 count, you should release it. And here it's something like, which I was always very, how to put it this way, but I was always very impressed by a martial artist then, who we all love and we all relate to, the very unique and the master of the craft in Bruce Lee. And I could see the way he stands and you feel fresh the moment you look at him. So I would request you to rise and get your hands onto your belly if you can, and feel the breathing exercise. So when I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're supposed to take in, hold it at 5, and release it at 5. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can repeat the set once again. Now that you've done it for once, you're supposed to do this every day. If you can take some time out to do this every day, nothing like it. But let's do it again. With my 1, you should take it in and feel your diaphragm enlarging, and then hold it there. And when you release it, it should, constrain and it should go inside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. So you're actually supposed to do this at least for 5 times. And that also gives you a little time to spend time with yourself. Like I was again touching yesterday, that young people, especially young people, get a little confused when you ask them, when was the last time you spent time with yourself? And it actually gets them a little puzzled. And some of them say that I don't remember. That scares me a bit, but nonetheless, that's okay. But it's nice if you can spend some time with yourself. And what better but to spend some time doing your own breathing exercise and be a little conscious about it. Let's take the second step towards this breathing is, if you do this 5 times, then take the first count to breathe inside, down deep, keep the count at 10, and you hold it again for 5 and release it for the next 10. Okay? If we start on, we take that little Bruce Lee position. And don't stress any part of your body, not your neck, not your shoulders, not your stomach, not your diaphragm, not your legs, nothing. And breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're actually supposed to do this again for 5 times, but in good times, you'll try and do that, I presume. And that's what the workshop is for. You're supposed to carry on these activities every day. And then the third set is you intake for 10, hold it for 10, and release it with 1. It's like you hold it and release it one shot. And after 5 times, you will see that you're feeling a little tired. And that's where your body is actually relating to, to your breathing exercises. So we'll do that for one more time. The last time, it's a 10, 10, 1 count. And that's the third part of the set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hold it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1. Release it. If you do this for 5 times, you will see that it's actually getting your senses correct and your body is behaving well. And this exercise of breathing, you need to take it up consciously. And next thing that was a part of this exercise was treating silence. And Sonia will take a step forward on to breathing low and slow, and how she treats the diaphragm on singing and the likes. And then we will take up silence, the art of listening. And today we will also do a little exercise on observation skills. I'll try and give you a couple of slides in the beginning, and then we'll see how it proceeds. Over to you, Sonia, my dear. Take it away.
All right, thank you, sir. So already feeling fresh and energized after doing the breathing exercise, even though we did it for just a short while, I feel like you can already feel the difference. So I encourage everyone to continue to do it every day, like Sir just said. All right, we quickly move on now to our vocal exercise. We had done this yesterday. And what this does is, firstly, of course, it does help you to identify various skills. So that, I mean, that of course helps you if you're singing or you want to improve the way you deliver a dialogue. But apart from that, it also helps you to improve the resonance of your voice. So how you're going to vibrate your vocal tracks, it also helps you improve on that as well. So if that's something that you want to develop, then I think this is a vocal exercise that we can do together. It's a 5.5 minute vocal warm-up. So I'll be putting the link today on your chat box, so kindly check it out. But for now, let's just do it for about 30 seconds or so to get a feel of how it goes. So shall we begin?
We are starting with a hum.
Can you do it along with me? All right.
Great.
So that's how it goes. This is something that you can continue to do, and it really does improve the way you sound. And the one tip that I have is whenever you're trying to deliver a dialogue, or maybe you're even singing, and you're, let's say, singing a higher scale or you're hitting a higher note, it should never hurt your throat. It should never make your throat feel itchy or discomfortable, because all of the force should come from your stomach. So I remember my vocal instructor would always tell me this: sing from your stomach. So all the voice and all the force of your voice is supposed to come from within and not from here. This is when there is a tendency for our voice to crack. So the best thing to do is do the vocal warm-ups. The breathing, of course, would be the first. That strengthens your diaphragm, and almost spontaneously, when you sing and hit the higher notes, it does bring a lot of the stress to the stomach and not to your vocal tracts. So that makes singing a much more effortless process, or maybe even dialogue delivery. So yeah.
Great, Sonia. Thanks. Now, I was about to touch this yesterday, and to also get from where I left yesterday, and especially what Tina had brought up, that how we do the entire exercise before putting up a production on stage, whether you are doing theater or you're writing like Drupada, Rashmi, and all, when you're writing a book. I'm not sure how they take up their exercise. It's a lot about thinking for sure. But when it comes to the act, I don't know how others do it, but I learned this from one of my mentors again, and I realized that it actually has a lot of magic in that sheet. It's something like this. It's a white sheet of paper that I paste on my praying station, just right on my face, on front of me. And I try and paste one on my study. And the other thing that is done is just mere thinking. And when you're trying to put characters and a little design onto that sheet regularly, because it might be over a span of 15 days or a month, when you're continuously just thinking about, when you're thinking about theater and the production of yours, and that's when, I add small pointers, and now it's not people moving around. Well, it's just the minimalist way that this is how I would like to see the production. And one fine day, when I can see that the white sheet has got a few elements and it's slowly filling up, that's when it gives me a little feel and a little, little part to think that yes, now it can go up on stage. Well, now the thinking exercise from what I see with my young ones is a little different. First thing you ask them on anything for that matter, it's Mr. and Miss Gulgul. And Mr. and Miss Gulgul is Google. So, and you quickly check. But Google as it is not a very nice solution provider, but it's an option provider. It's a fantastic option provider. But why negate the option which is running in your mind? Now, I refuse to understand when you even in a workshop over the past couple of years that I've seen, it's increasing that whenever you come with a thought or you ask a certain idea, well, you just Googling. Well, that is not what I think actually comes into your own correct form. And for that, I presume, I thought I will share today that to fill up that white sheet with small elements of where I'll keep the table if I need a table, or whatever the properties that I'll use, how will I use and diffuse the use of lights? Should I put lights from the wings? That's a huge ball game altogether, the lighting part in play and the sound arrangement. But I remember when I was in my very nascent youth, and when I thought I would put up a play here in Guwahati in a very intimate space, well, I thought I would bring in one of my other mentors from Shillong, uh, the very legendary Lou Majau. And I asked him one day in Shillong that I'm going ahead with this play, Balu, how would you think it will shape out to be? He said, it's going to be very nice, in a very unique way. And then I asked him that for the part that I was telling you about the song coming in with a person who's playing a guitar and just singing himself and coming into the audience, and you said it'll go on very well. How about you doing it? Oh, I like that little silence that came in. It was a 5 second silence, and he was looking at me and says, maybe I'll try. And that's how Balu came into the scene with one of my first plays then. And he actually, when the whole auditorium was silence, and I will come to that, how you build pockets of stillness and silence in your life and mind. And then one light falling in from a stand right deep within to the entry of Ravinder Bhavan. And there comes in and emerges a figure, salt and pepper, long hair, Stetson, and a guitar in his hand, and of course that voice. Well, I was actually on the controls, sitting, and I couldn't even turn around because the light controls were in my hand, along with a dynamic personality who we don't get to see. We don't get to see these people. And I'm taking these names because they've been a fantastic guide in my journey. And more than, I know it's a workshop, but even Sonia, these names that people know in this part of the country makes a lot of change. So I thought I'll put in, these names at least, and since it's going on air, that person who actually made me correctly learn the study of lighting in theater is none other than Munna Prasad. We call him Munnada, but Munnada is a very silent man. But I still refuse to understand how he sees the lighting scheme just by staring blankly at a performance space. And he says, put this up, we'll put this up, and we'll blend these two, and that's how it comes in. And that's Prem Prasad, who actually helped me a lot in my journey on theatre. His brother, Nayan Prasad, who are members of Hujjo, Sanjeev Hazarika, Antona Borloy, all these people we've been together for a long, long time now. But, like I was telling you, bringing in that silence that time and blending music live with theater, for me, it was a new exercise. And very soon, I thought that this is going well with the audience. And of course, your idea is that it should go well with the audience and the audience is connecting. Then, of course, it energizes your inside. And so that's how we thought we'll put live music, and we will use can as and where the need arises for effects and the lights. But otherwise, we thought of going live. Well, it's sad to mention, but there's a very young, I say young old friend of mine. We don't have them. I'll tears in heaven for him. That was Rakesh Barua. And I used to call him Shakti because he was a pounding bass guitar player. And he was on the wings playing live. And you know how a bass guitar helps in every moment of of the play, even for a heartbeat. It's just Rakesh doing duk duk, and that's a magic, and it's live, and to enhance those things. So I remember Rajiv, Rajiv, who still helps me with a lot of my musical efforts, and Rakesh, we lost him because of that fatal crash of the chopper in the one side. But these are people who, and Majao, these are people, Ba Majao, who actually got me into a different ball game of the journey called theater and got in live music. And similarly, I must also thank people who were there in Coca-Cola at that time. And he said that, I said, I want a billboard for my production. And by that time, it was only a very cheap paper that you used to put a little Maida gum at night and put it on the walls. Those were posters for plays, from what I remember. I've seen my father doing that. I've seen my father's juniors doing that. And then one day I was thinking that if I had a little money, I wonder what it would be to put up a billboard for a play. And that was the time when I was doing Virtuous Burglar. Uh, and by Dario Fo. Dario Fo was not a known name then in the circuit. And one of my, person who was willing to sponsor the play was Mr. Fukan from Coca-Cola. And he said, the only thing I have to request you, young Mr. Bhuya, is that keep your productions and keep all your, your tickets or your placards or everything that you use, your promo stuff, try to keep it red because that's our flagship color. Oh my dear, till I go and meet another person who's not with us anymore. These are people who actually shaped my life, my journey. Ojanda, Ojan Barua from Kilpukuri, who is a fantastic artist, cinematographer. Endlessly, we can take a session on Ojan Barua itself. He was such a dynamic force behind my exercise. So I told him, Ojanda, I have to get this billboard up, and they've given me a little money. And next to Cotton College, we decided that's the place they gave us. And Ajanta got me two local artists who actually paint billboards then with that tin of can with the brush that they go up, bamboos placed, and they go up and paint the billboard. Oh my goodness, I can't tell you all in a theater workshop what kind of a feeling it was to see that blank board. And I took a mora from home, and it was Cotton College. We sat there. It was that area as if was ours. It still feels like in that area of Pan Bazaar is still ours because of the college there. Well, and that red billboard came up, Dario Fo's Virtuous Burglar. And I believe before that, I haven't seen a billboard going up for a theater production, at least in this part of the country. And my team came in. There was David Baker. Tina was there. Tina, do you remember that point when we all went together to see the billboard?
Yes, yes, of course.
Oh my goodness, what a delightful moment it was. So, theater per se gives you even these sort of delights. The billboard goes up, and then of course the flex came in, and then of course with major mobile cell companies came in big billboards that we had 3 4 in the city. But thanks to Coke then for getting up that first billboard up. And with that, I was actually trying to get that little stillness, and also with Majao. It's so important to build pockets of stillness into your life. Like I said, it's nothing is more mysterious. It's no human relation is mysterious. It's actually the love that you have for a craft or the love that you have for a person. That is the mystery in a person's life, is what I personally feel. Nothing else beats this. And it's
Beautiful.
and if you don't have a little stillness in your life, I don't think you'll be able to, get into this point. So with theater, the other thing that is very important is to seek inward. We say the vision it's always like this. You know, when you say vision of life, this is your eyesight, and this is the frame. It goes right, goes out. But if you practice anything that is creative, just take it inside. Your eyes are here, take that vision inside, and if that way you can spend some time, oh my goodness, that actually is what we thought we would take up next. And I've already done that bit. I'm announcing that stillness in your mind and life. And that actually is silence. And that actually is so nice to relate to any kind of a production, any kind of writing. I personally have a lot of silence in my writing, and I can't explain it better than to, would have shown it to you. But there's silence in my delivery, and I'm sure Sonia would agree. There's so much of silence used in a song. Well, there's different kind of a vibrancy in silence, but I can't tell you in words again. And this silence I've also enjoyed, especially when the theater in theater parlance is when lights come up. I would have loved to show you all how I first got this inspiration of lighting, which becomes so very important in the field of theater, is when you see a stage or a performing space in still darkness with nothing in it, and you're sitting there as a part of the audience, and slowly a light comes up there. It could be a candle, it could be a lamp, it could be a tungsten wire up there on a multi 10 or a multi 20, or any other light that you can name that you use for a performance that glows up slowly, it comes up. My goodness, that's another moment. I don't have words to express the feeling. And then comes in from the side, and close ups like we see in films. What I experienced that in theater was that you put that light just onto the person's face on the passport size, and that's how you treat a close up in theater. And these are things which Munada made me, was so very sweet of him to explain things. Ojan Borua, for that matter, again. My only thing is that these people, at least Ojan Borua, Minal Kanti, and all these people here in this part of the country, they left a little early, way too early actually. Would have been a different place altogether. Like I was talking about neighborhoods, how Bhaskar Actor Mandir shaped Uzan Bazar, and got that rich artistic creative notion to that place in that neighborhood, like what Pragoti Shilpi Hongkong new art players did to that space, like what Hujjo has done to that space, which was full of what kind of activities I don't want to mention, but with the club coming in there with a little cultural thing happening, oh my goodness, changed it. Similarly with places like Ba, look at Hongkordev Kolakshetra, it changed the entire landscape of Baghorbori. There were tigers in that place before. Now look at that place, how vibrant it's become. So cultural space of performance, especially for performance and culture and theater, actually changes. It changes and revitalizes these kind of neglected neighborhoods. And Ravindra Bhavan stands tall. So these kind of things really matter, and I'm so very, I'm a little not sad, but I'm a little confused these days. Why why a lot of young people immediately go up to that gulgul moment and not spend some time alone and think when a certain thought comes to their mind. I would really encourage. I don't know how to put. I'm not very confident in putting things actually like the way I think, which is a lack on my communication skills. I tell my actors, I'm sure Sonia, you'll agree to it. So Tina, that I take a little time, but it becomes very difficult for me to express what I'm thinking, you know, and I'm not a very good communicator that way. Uh, but although when it comes to theater, this is actually saw my life proceed in a very natural manner. And I will now come back to you with this little thought that I once again uh, thank all the seniors who've helped me shape my theater life, and to the ones who I've missed early, uh, big salute to them. And I'm sure they're happy wherever they are. My prayers for their moments there of glory. But I also don't have too much of I don't have too much of anxiety towards, oh, I'm not being able to do this, I'm not being able to do that. I'm not that. I'm a simple country boy that way, even though I may die someday, I will have no regrets. I did what I wanted to do, and I've done so far what I've done with a lot of sincerity, especially the craft of theater and anything that creative. And I don't expect anything more from life so far. So far it's been like, and like I mentioned yesterday, that it will be nice if people can spend time with themselves. It itself is a very fantastic high. When you can get inward, that high is a fantastic high. And on a workshop for theater and creative arts, I think this is the high people should focus on going forward, especially the young adults. I keep telling my young adults this way, and I relate more because I told you I'm not very comfortable in the adult life. Uh, I don't delve much there, but in this young life, it's that inward thinking, spending time with the inward self, actually is a great high. uh, I'm sure people the young ones who are listening to this and who are sensitive enough can understand what I'm trying to get at. Because I have spent 25, 30 years living two parallel lives, and I am not very happy about that moment. But I think it's better this way when you can spend some time in your inward vision and take life forward. At least on a creative circle, this really means a lot. Sonia.
I absolutely agree, sir. And one thing is that I think we are going to be living with ourselves for all of our lives. So you might as well like your own company. So I do agree with that. It's so important to be spending time with yourself. And there is a little activity that I personally do, and I'd encourage everybody who's watching it as well. I would practice it even before I knew what it was called. Of course, now I figured out it's called guided imagery. But the mind, of course, is such an important part of the human body and human existence. And this is our control system. Everything happens here. So I've noticed that whenever we get on stage, and if in my mind I'm already very tensed, and I'm already, I've already decided for myself that I'm going to mess up, I do mess up. And that's exactly what I reflect on stage. But when my mind is calm and when I am in tune with who I am, it's a much different picture that I'm able to present on stage as well. And I think in every other thing that we pursue as people. So what I do whenever I feel we're tensed, and I remember I think Stanislavski had said this, that it is an occupational disease, tension. So even though we spoke about how, yes, artists are tension free, I think that comes after putting in quite a bit of effort, which we don't see. It happens behind the scenes because, of course, the occupation does put in a lot of tension because you are on stage or you're on a public platform and you are open to appreciation and a lot of criticism. So it is important to make sure that your mind is still and sound. So what I do whenever I feel like the noise around me is getting way too loud is I disconnect, put off all of these screens, connect to more greens perhaps, and yeah, just close your mind for a while and try to imagine all the things that make you calm. That is something that I do a lot. I literally shut my eyes. I remember a specific moment where I was very happy. Maybe I went for a family outing. There was a particular emotion that is attached to that event. Maybe I was in the hills of Upper Shillong, just sitting with my dad and sipping Coke. If that could be your moment. Or maybe it's in your first day of school where you felt the most calm and most connected to yourself. Or it could just be sitting and doing nothing at all. Maybe that's something that you enjoy. That's something that gives you that stillness. So that is an activity that I do whenever I feel like the noise around me is getting way too much. And sometimes also I feel music helps. So maybe find some soothing music that it really helps you calm down and just play it. You don't always, I feel like we've developed something called FOMO, right? Our generation, fear of missing out, where we constantly want to be in tune with not what we're doing, but what a celebrity who has no idea about your existence is doing. And while it's good to be informed, you also need to know about what's going on within you. So it's good to disconnect, like I said, and just allow yourself to figure out where you are in life right now. And just calm down, find that stillness, like Sir said. We have a few participants who've joined us, and I can see quite a few names actually. I can see Teenat ma'am, Reshma ma'am, Pranami Bora again. So quite a lot of participants from yesterday's class. So since we were on this trip of a little revision, I think so, if you don't mind, if we can go back to confidence. And
Yep.
we had given them a little homework yesterday. So let's see if anybody's come prepared. So we'd spoken about confidence yesterday. And the thing that I had shared was that confidence is not just you feeling like you're always right, but you not being afraid to be wrong either, right? So even when I am wrong, that in no way diminishes my ability to achieve the ultimate goal. So I feel that is something that we, especially as theater artists, really need to possess. Because I remember when we were rehearsing for our scenes in Manto or in Park Bench Blues, there were times when we were doing things wrong. And maybe the director will come and tell you, or maybe a co-actor comes and tells you, hey, can you polish this up a little bit? I think you messed that line up. Can you say it this way? And so if you're not confident about who you are, I've seen people leave roles midway because they're so disappointed with that one moment of correction, so offended. And that's because inside of you, somewhere you feel like that has just diminished my ability to achieve. I can't do it. I should have aced it at one shot. So we put so much pressure on ourselves. So I feel like do not be afraid to be wrong. I think if we say that Rome wasn't built in a day, DCOM sir wasn't built in a day, right? It's taken him years of mentoring. It's taken him years of being corrected. And so I learned from that. So I think that's something that we'd like to encourage the younger participants to take away as well. So we had spoken about this yesterday, that if you don't like yourself, you're never going to be able to like the people around you. You're not going to like the process of theater either, right? I was watching an interesting movie yesterday, maybe a lockdown recommendation. Isn't it romantic? That's what it's called. All right. So it's a very interesting film where they tried to show you that, they tried to show you the classic fairy tale story where the girl needs the love of her life to complete her. But in this story, they kind of reverse it the other way around. She finds the love of her life, but that in no way makes her love herself. And so ultimately, the film talks about how she was completed only when she was able to first like herself. Because till that point, even the compliments made no difference to her. The criticisms, she got quickly offended. Hey, why are you dressing like that? Ooh, that's a big statement, because she's already got so much hate towards herself. And even if somebody was complimenting her, she'd get offended even at that. Like, what are you trying to get from me? What do you want from me? Why are you being so nice? So I feel like this process of liking yourself is so important, just as people, and specifically in art and in theater, because you will get a lot of people who don't like you. So you need to like yourself. So we had done this little exercise yesterday where we had asked you to tell us 5 things that you like about yourself. And it was quite nice to see that a lot of you didn't struggle to tell us 5 things, but we'd like to see if you can go to 6 and 10. 6 to 10, if there are more things that you can share with us about what you like about yourself. So I think, if you don't mind, Teenat ma'am, if you're here, we'd like to start with you, because the top 5 came pretty easily. So if we can hear from you, if you're around.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Sonia.
Hi, good morning.
Looking pretty as before.
Yeah,
And
thank you so
that's
much.
the secret I want to know. How do you manage to look so good every morning?
Thank you. So we'd like to hear from you. The 5 other things that you like about yourself. You can't repeat what you said yesterday, and I somehow remember what you said. So.
Oh, okay.
Let's
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yesterday I was thinking, after you told me that, I was thinking that what I like about myself is that I forgive very easily. There have been people who have been really nasty with me, but then I have just forgiven and got over it. And then even when I meet them next time, it's perfectly okay with them. So forgiving is one thing. The next thing is that I had a major problem like last November. It was like I just came back from the dead. So this year, it has been a kind of thing. I love myself for that, because I'm taking new challenges and I'm not, kind of getting scared to try out new things. So new challenges is the second thing I really like about myself. I'm not scared to do that. Number 3 is I'm not procrastinating, Sonia. Like last year, I remember I used to procrastinate and leave everything for tomorrow or some other time. But I think I'm really not procrastinating about anything. I'm doing it now. I'm talking to you right now. I'm enjoying the moment. Yes. And the fourth thing is I'm learning how to enjoy every moment. I used to really keep everything for some other time. Maybe when I'm going to be better, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. It's not like that anymore. I'm enjoying every moment of my life. And and the fifth thing is that I make friends very easily. I make friends and I trust people very much. And I think my mother did teach me not to trust everyone at one go. But then, that's my inherent nature, even if mom taught me that. But I trust people a lot. And I think I really feel good about it. 5. You wanted another one?
Well, that's great, but you can tell us
That's great.
if there's more.
Okay. No, 5. Yeah, that's good.
No,
for
that's
me.
great. All right, it's so good to see that there are so many things that you like about yourself, and let's make this a daily activity that we do. I actually do this. I've got a little diary where I sit and write all the things I'm thankful for, and I do this every day. So I'd encourage everybody who's watching this
Can
to do
can
this
I
as
can
well.
I say
It really
something,
helps
Sonia?
you. Yeah, yeah,
Can I
please
say
go ahead.
something else, Sonia? Yeah, Decom has been so he has been persistently telling us since yesterday that we need to invest a lot of time in ourselves, and I think I have been doing that during this COVID period. I've been doing a lot of spending time in myself and looking inward, and happiness, I think, lies with us. That's what I'd like to share with everyone instead of looking for it outside.
Great. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
sharing. Thank you. So, would you like to add?
Me? No,
Yeah.
no, no. I'm good.
All right. So, should we go on ahead then? So, would you be talking about listening?
Well, not now. Let
Okay.
anyone else wants to share what they want to share, then they can go ahead. Roberta, do you want to say something? If you're still there, do you want to share something with us? Maybe he's a little tied up at
We've
the
got
moment.
Miss Reshma as well, who had
Yeah.
joined us yesterday. So, if you're here,
Yeah, hi.
Hi there.
Good
hi.
morning.
Good morning.
Yes,
Good
sorry,
morning.
there was
I think there is a little network again, no, troubling.
Yeah, probably.
Reshma, what a nice feel that you've come back today as well, apart from the people who are joining us online. But that's a great feel. Thank you so much for being with us again this morning, despite a Sunday morning. Mhm. Let's hear from you. Yes, Sonia, I think Reshma has a little network issue, I guess. But for people who are still with us, we'll wait till Reshma joins us back. But till then, there are little tips that I thought would make a lot of sense towards your mind development, would also, and your persona, is always allow yourself the uncomfortable luxury of changing your mind. You know, the negative capabilities and the likes, but always allow yourself that luxury that you could change your mind, and do nothing for prestige or status, and just do something that you always would love. And if you do it correctly and sincerely, it's only a good thing that you would do with a lot of love and sincerity. So there's no harm in going ahead with it. And I'd always say that it's nice to be a little generous, but never forget to build pockets of stillness in your life. That is very, very, that has made me what I am. And sleep, a lot of people may say it's like not a very good thing that if you go on sleeping like that, what kind of boredom, this and that. uh, Besides being the greatest creative aphrodisiac, sleep also affects our every waking moment. It dictates our rhythm and also mediates our negative moods. So I think sleep is a good exercise. And when people try and tell you who you are, Just don't believe them. And what that again Bruce Lee had said and shared is like, try to be like water. That was one fantastic thing I remember listening and then reading on his book. But that kind of pointer he said was, it's great to achieve the object of his definite purpose in life. Therefore, he demands of himself the persistent and continuous action towards its attainment. So, Mr. Lee had this fantastic thing that, how you cannot hold water. How do you think it's very soft, but yet it's so powerful? It can just take away everything. So that is one thing that can be developed. I'm still waiting if if uh, if Reshma is joining in. But to understand and to be understood, those are amongst life's greatest gifts. And every interaction, even the one that we are having today, is an opportunity to exchange them. You know, that is one thing I thought I would share before I miss out. And is that Father Sadhu joining us? I can see Sadhu Thomas joining in. I think he's joining from Boko, but that's very great to see him. Great, Sonia. So what about Reshma? She's not yet back.
I think she was, because her mic was on. She
Yeah.
was on.
And
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
oh
can.
yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. I don't like about myself, but I don't like my desire to please everybody. I don't like my habit of um, judging people too quickly sometimes, and I don't like my weight. I don't like. I don't like jumping from one thing to another. I get into too many project applications, and I'm firefighting. I don't like firefighting. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Miss Reshma. But I think we were talking about the things we like, but she did share about things she doesn't like about herself. So,
Okay.
would you also like to add the things you like about yourself, perhaps?
About myself, yes. First thing is,
Not the things you shared today, though.
yes. I understand. What I like about myself is my ability to be flexible. I adapt easily. Then I like my eyes. I like my voice. I like the way I speak, and I like my connection with the spiritual.
All right, beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Sonia, remind me that we should do up with that little slide on uh, on the letter F.
Yes, yeah.
And now that we see Dhruvada, would you like to share things that you actually don't like from the core of your heart? Because we always hear people, and we also know and relate to people, to things that people like. But we were doing this since yesterday in between as a filler point, that it would be nice to know things that you don't like. Would you like to share with us a few things that you don't like?
Dicky, I was incommunicado for about 5 minutes.
We can't hear you, Dhruvada. I think you're muted or your volume is low.
Okay. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Sonia, can you hear him?
No.
I don't think so.
Can you hear me now?
Slightly better, but still very soft.
Okay. Then no, it's okay. I mean,
if you can just bring the mic closer to your mouth.
Okay. So, Sonia, yeah, it's like, no, I'm sorry, I was away for about 5 minutes talking to a friend of mine from Shillong, from your Shillong, Sonia, Robin Nangong. So I'm back. I didn't hear exactly the last 7 minutes, but I heard Reshma, and I think both of you spoken so well, so matured. I mean, I can afford to say that especially that word mature, because I'm not myself matured that way. But Decoman, you carry a lot of philosophy, I found while listening to you. The fact that you spoke something about confidence and how you, revolved around that word. Not having confidence itself is a journey by itself, and how you can build it up. And Decom, going back to his interiority, his introvert stillness. I think you're talking poetry today instead of theater. Beautiful. But Dixon, I sorry for the participants. I have a long time habit of calling Decom Dixon. Dixon, because there's a very well-known thriller writer called John Dixon Carr, and for some reason I've always called Decom Dixon. So, Dixon, there is what I don't love. It's a very difficult thing to say. Even that phrase itself, what I don't love, I love very much.
Okay.
There are very few things that displeases me or things that I do not like. Yes, I'm momentarily irritated by things, by people, by situations, by ideas. But irritation is not the same thing as disliking or not loving. I think there are layers and layers of it. You can be, fed up with someone, irritated with the situation, but not loving. I think that's a very, a very delicately put question to me, Decom. And anything under the sun or anything under creation is worth loving, truly and absolutely. One may not be totally intensely involved. For example, you said something a while back while I was listening that you have had a fantastic life because of your love for theater. But a lot of us love theater, but the intensity with which you have loved theater is different from maybe many others, from Zax and me and Rashmi. But then, not loving is, I think, a very, sorry to say, it is a pretty dangerous statement.
No, I understand. I understand. Especially Sonia, I totally understand with what Dhruva was trying to tell, because he's such a sensitive person himself. And I really understand where he's getting at, and what might happen if he just comes out with that, because I totally understand over thousands of years that I've known him. He is actually a very sensitive human being, and I take it that he would not like to say.
I'll just have 30 seconds. I think Dixon, not truly loving anything is something, whatever that grows against my grain of happiness is the thing that I do not love.
Yeah.
I'm a very selfish person, and by virtue of that, I seek a lot of happiness. And hence I surround myself, as much as you have done, with things that make you truly contented and happy. You said you led a dual life, a parallel life for 25 years, which did not make you exactly that happy as much as you would have had been. The same thing applies to me, Decom. I led a parallel life, and to that extent, I had not loved that portion of my life. Thank you so much.
Yeah, great to hear you. And great to have you back.
Sorry, I think
I would still like to, before Sonia takes it forward, just to, give a quick recap that theater is something that doesn't do you no harm. Exactly. And it actually, you should see the deep within. Once you are up on stage or in a performing space, it is the inward confidence that's playing. So when you if you ask the world, you will see only 5% of them will say that, yes, I might just give it a shot to go up and perform. Because in most cases, you'll see that they'll come up with some kind of excuse and try to say, oh, I can't do this. And that's the level of confidence that, one should always feel proper, because of the simple reason I tell my young ones who are growing up that apart from the wired digital world that you'll stay in, theater is a very safe place. So please, where you can be yourself. So there's no harm in enjoying a life moment apart from being in the screen and the wired world. That's one. Experience on the creative space is another gem of a thing that can happen to a person. Of course, it helps you self-express. And I'm all for raw talent. But yes, this could be a good tip again, that theater space and theater involvement in your space of life is definitely a fantastic stress buster and a drama teacher. You know, that's actually a huge stress buster. And all said and done, like I was telling you in the very beginning again, Sonia, that it actually amazes me when I was told that I belong to one of those United Nations activities on, mapping up your mind and all, when we were in a workshop. I was myself very surprised when the person came and told me, and a very senior help said that, you have this INFJ personality, and are you aware of it? Well, it surprised me, and the person told me that, with whatever we've seen you over 7 days, you actually belong to that kind of a personality, and it's a very rare kind of personality, but it has its positives and negatives. But yes, an INFJ personality trait is something that when I was told, I tried to again rethink of the things that I've done practically in the past, and I think I'm quite falling to that space. But yeah, but I've always liked good smell. I've always liked things that are still. And one thing, like I said, has been always very challenging for me is to understand. And I don't intend to understand deeper, but one thing that has always amazed me in my understanding is love. And I can only relate to that word, uh, although this is a part of the four-letter word that starts with an L and ends with an E. But the amount of distance that that word has amazes me, and that is one reason what attracts me to the stage more than anything else. And what else? I I like the act of coming together to share things like we've done since yesterday. The act of sharing things together, like I told you a few instances of the theater experience. And now that Teenat is here today, see how live experience matters, how a live performance matters, especially especially when you're going anything that you're doing live. Teenat will very clearly remember this. I'm telling you, was Teenat, this is a short story out of I think the Virtuous Burglar, when Teenat was
Okay.
acting opposite David Becker. And like the digital world had just come in, we had the live music set happening with Rajiv on the keys, enhancing sound elements, and creating these effects on the stage. And there was the time when a telephone had to ring, a landline had to ring, and the actor is supposed to go and pick up the phone, and then the play proceeds. Now at that moment, if the ring is not happening, the players don't know what to do. And here on the wings, on the live set, when Rajiv was sitting, Rajiv, me, Rakesh, everyone was there. For some technical glitch, we trying to press that key, but the effect was not coming out on the microphone. It can happen. But I can see the tension mounting on Tina and David because the play is not proceeding now. Or everyone's giving in their, improvising the scene, and they did it in such a manner that no one could realize that there's this thing missing in the play now, and that's why it's not developing. Thanks, Tina and David, once again. But then I had to grab the mic and actually, through my own caricature abilities, had to do prr, 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 until the actor went and picked up the phone. Tina, do you remember that moment?
Yes, yes, I do. Yeah, I do, and that was scary. It
That
was
was very, very
it
scary.
was a very scary experience. Oh my God, yes.
And lights falling from the bars. Can you imagine a light falling from about 40 feet high with that power, and it just breaks in front of you? Oh my goodness, wig falling off an actor. Oh, these have been deadly experiences which only theater can give you, and nothing else can partake of this kind of experiences. But I'm so glad that that still take us for live performance. I only hope that we can go back to the theater spaces and the live performance areas to get out of this very serious pandemic affair that we went through, all of us. Like I said, I'm very deeply saddened about the lives that we lost, but that also taught us how to take care of nature and be truthful to ourselves. And I cannot wait to go back to the live performance area given a chance. I would say, let's go now and let's start the action. Sonia.
So, what Sir shared, I think, is a very important point that I was planning to come to anyway, about how theatre teaches you a lot of managerial skills. I think that is something that I've really learned being on stage, and I'm sure all the veterans here would agree with me as well about, for example, the instance that Sir and Teenath ma'am shared about things not falling into place. And I remember this one episode that happened where I was performing a play, and it was the climax of the play, and it was a very intense scene where I was supposed to be remembering my dead mother. And I was supposed to be breaking down on stage. And it was in that very moment that the sound team happened to play the wrong song. And they played a party number in that intense scene. And I remember I was gearing up and I was bottling up my tears and just ready to burst out, And at that moment, the song that plays is a very popular Bollywood number. Somebody must have played it from the wrong device, or that happened. And because we had been rehearsing, and because of the teamwork that we had developed during the rehearsals, we had talked about what would happen if something like this were. Of course, we didn't anticipate this, but I remember what I did was, instead of panicking, I just stood there and I started to already enact the sadness, and the people behind me, the other members, already began to. It was a scene where it was already like a gathering. So we somehow managed to make it look like it was a party, and they were dancing, and I was lost in the crowd. And so, I just took the moment, and the people behind me were in a different mood, and I quickly just got into the sadness that I was supposed to exhibit, and I built it up. And till date, I feel like it's that scene that the audience remembers, and they thought that, oh, okay, that scene was very impactful because it almost looked like I was unaffected by what was happening around me. And quickly then the sound team realized, and they were able to play the right song, but it fell into place. So I feel like, much like life, where things don't always go the way you plan, theater teaches you a lot of how to manage in the times of crisis, because it's live. Like I said yesterday, there's no retake, there is no cut, and there's no edit. So you always have to be able to think fast whenever you're a theater personality. What do I do if my co-actor forgets the lines? What do I do if the lights go off? What if the wrong music plays? So you always have to be on your toes and be able to think fast. So I think that is something that theater teaches you. So like we said earlier, that theater gives you traits and characteristics that you can use otherwise in life as well. Now, yesterday we had tried a very interesting activity, and I love the fact that we're sharing, but since this is a workshop, I'd also like to have a lot of interaction from a few of the people who've joined us from yesterday as well. I'd like to hear from you. So observation is something that Dekom sir was talking about earlier, that there's an interesting activity that we'll be sharing with you. But theater, like we said yesterday, comes from the Greek word theatron, which means seeing place. Again, a place where people come to see life. They come to see society. That means it's a mirror. It's a reflection in so many ways. So it's not apart from life, but rather a part of life. That means it's within life itself. It's an overflow of life. So according to me, I feel like the greatest achievement for me as an actor would be if someone who's watching me would be able to either relate to me, or would be able to say, hey, she reminds me of my aunt, or she reminds me of my grandmother. When I'm able to break that play and relate that to somebody's life, I feel like we've succeeded as actors. And no matter how much age may change, no matter how much generations may change, one thing that doesn't change is human emotions. So whether you're doing a Shakespeare, or you're doing a Manto, or you're doing something more contemporary, the human emotions are still supposed to ring the same bells. They're still supposed to strike the same chords, whether it be joy and sadness. So I feel that really helps you to connect with the audience when they can connect to you. So when I was preparing for the role, for a very, very senior woman's role that I was playing, the first thing that I did was I began to write my own backstory. So I would go home and think about like I had mentioned earlier, that she was not an adulteress, but then her husband cheated on her. That was her life story. And so I would always try to imagine what her relationship with her husband might have been like. Why did her husband leave her? What was her childhood like? I would try to create these stories, and that would really help me put on the role. And especially when I'm not speaking, how am I supposed to be handling my body language? Because that's the kind of person I am. So I try to live her life. I try to create experiences. Of course, that's just my technique. I don't know if some of you can relate to that. So what I'm trying to get at is, and of course, a lot of what I did in the character was a reflection of the people I had met as well. So it might have been a granny that I had met, or maybe a shopkeeper who had certain ways of, telling her beads. She'd sit. I mean, of course, there's someone in my university who does that. So I was able to bring a little bit of that from life and put it on stage. So I feel like observing people and observing life circumstances is very important whenever we're trying to play a role on stage. So I was thinking if we can do a quick activity to engage a few people who are here with us. We've got Teenat and Reshma ma'am, and we've also got Rashmi ma'am, who's been with us from the very beginning. So I think this would be a fun activity where we try to observe and we also try to listen. And of course, this would also help you enhance your voice modulation. So we had done this yesterday where we had given you the line, "I hate you." And different people had said it very differently, and it created very different backstories. So what we're going to do today, the line would be, "Hi, you haven't changed at all. You haven't changed at all." That could mean a lot. It could be, "You haven't changed at all." Or it could be, "You haven't changed at all." Like a little more angry, or like, "Oh my God, you still look so young. You haven't changed at all." It could also be that. And we're going to ask one of you to start, and the next person who's going to do it will have to hear the way the first person said it and try to say it in a similar way. Right? So I feel like that would help you to observe how the other person speaks, and also enhance your listening skills and your voice modulation skills as well. So we already have veterans, so that's amazing, and I'm sure it'll be fun to see and learn. So Teenat ma'am, Reshma ma'am, if you'd like to join us.
See, Sonia, the only thing I can say is they're such sweet people, all of them now that I can see.
Yeah.
And they will say this in such a sweet manner. And I am
like you should start.
I'm like the rogue, and I really have to put up an act to get the way they will be doing it, because otherwise they all that I can see here in Kruvoda, Reshma, Bedo, Tina, Jack, you yourself, sweet people.
Sweet people. Right. So I think it's better if you start. That would give us a bit more of a challenge. I've been asked to repeat the instructions. So the line is, "Hi, you haven't changed at all." In fact, I feel we should cut off the "hi." Let's just keep it at "you haven't changed at all."
Okay, let's do that. Let me actually kickstart that and see how rogue, how much of a rogue you can become.
So you'll have to hear Dikamsa say it, after which the other participants would have to listen to the way he said it and try to replicate the same thing, the same voice tone.
The same voice, tonal quality. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And then I'm going to show you a slide. But before that, here we go. You haven't changed at all. Not bad, huh?
I don't even think I have the right to comment. So,
Rashmi, you want to go ahead with that now? Or you want me to do it again?
You have to unmute.
Unmute.
Yeah, I can. 1 second.
To bring in the confidence.
To bring in the confidence. Yes.
You haven't changed at all.
I'm scared. Thanks so
Not
much.
bad.
That
okay.
was nice.
Really good.
Brilliantly done. Who's
you
going
haven't
next?
Changed at all.
Tina, they all trying to do like I moved first, so they all trying to move like me.
We're trying to do what Dee said, yeah.
Is Rashmi doing it?
Yeah, what we're doing, Tina, is they were all trying to emote. I moved first, so they all trying to be like how I said that line. But I said, I'm going to move first for a change, because they are all sweet people present here. They will say that in such a sweet manner that I won't be able to cope up the rogue in me. So I started saying that, You haven't changed at all. And that's what Rashmi did. And
that was good, yeah. Okay, who's coming next?
You're coming next.
You.
Oh, me? Okay. You haven't changed at all.
Drupala, what about you? Look at him. Going away from the very smartly disconnecting the video. And that's why I caught him like, what about you? He's gonna do a good job. You have to unmute yourself, Drupala.
Did precisely that moment I thought that I have to speak on this. I cut off the video. But then, Sonia, what was it? The punchline?
You haven't changed at all.
Can any words precede that? Like, oh my God, you haven't changed at all. Or it just has to be that one line?
Yeah, it has to be that one line, because what we're trying to do here is enhance our observation, listening, and voice modulation skills. So we're trying to hear how Sir's saying it, and we'll try to say it the same way, or in a similar way, at least.
You haven't changed at all. That's mine.
Nice. Rashmi, you want to give it a shot?
I think Reshma ma'am was also here.
Reshma?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, Reshma.
Hi.
Hello.
You haven't changed at all.
Great one.
Wow.
That
What
was
about you,
really
Jack? Great one, Reshma. What about you, Jack? Sonia, you want to give it a shot?
I just did.
Yeah.
I just did in the beginning.
Oh, you did in the beginning. And just quickly, I'm going to quickly show you this slide. If everyone can give it a look, I'm going to share the screen. Okay, Sonia? And I'm going to give you 5 seconds to read what's there on that slide. And let me tell you what I'm looking at. I'm looking at you all trying to find out how many F letters did you find in that slide. Now, I want you to already get your observation skills up, get your heads thinking, and keep the answers to yourself. Sonia is gonna ask you how many you found, or you can share it onto that screen, chat screen, of how many Fs. No, let's not do that. Keep it to yourself. I'm gonna ask you individually how many Fs you could identify. No sharing with anybody, and don't say the answer till I tell you that let's hear it from you. Tinat, Reshma, Jack, Rashmi, Drupala, Sonia, and people who are joining us online in the various YouTube and Facebook platforms. Here goes the slide, and clearly observe by reading how many Fs you can identify. And we all have grown up reading English, so it shouldn't be much of a difficulty. There you go. Five seconds starts now. Was that good enough? Or was I too fast in killing it?
Good enough.
Good enough. Okay. So let's start with Drupala. How many Fs could you identify?
I saw 3 only, yeah, Digam.
3. That's great. Rashmi, what about you? I'll come to why we made you watch that slide. Tina, what about you?
I saw 3, Deekom.
3, similar
Yes.
with Drupala. Fantastic. What about you, Rashmi? 5, huh? Wow. 5, 3, 3. Reshma?
I couldn't finish reading. I just about managed to see 3.
3. What about you, Jack?
5.
5. All right. So wow. That's the catch. And luckily, there are not people. When I was first shown this with my little inward viewing, I saw only 2. So no big deal. But I thought, and that's the time I have always been trying to save that slide. And I do show it in a lot of workshops that I do. It's such a simple line. I've given you more than the time to figure out just how many Fs you could point. And here it's a mixed bag of answers. Sonia has seen this before, so no point asking her. But
But I counted it only today, though.
really?
I counted the Fs only today.
You counted the Fs only today. So how much did you count? How many of them did you count?
About 6.
So actually there are
6.
6 Fs in it.
Oh.
But people who normally come up also with 2. Now I'm going to share the screen again. And I'm going to exactly tell you why we made you do this exercise. There goes the share screening. You can check it for yourself. There it goes. The first one is in finished. The second one is in files. The third one is in the off. The fourth one is in the off. The fifth one is in the scientific F. And where's the other one?
Experience of years of.
Yes.
The experience of years.
Exactly, that's the 6th.
Yes. So what actually happens, I feel, because we do writing workshops, because what happens is, I think we tend to leave aside the F of off.
Yeah.
This is where a lot of you got just 3 Fs. So I skipped the last line.
Yeah. You actually, like this is one instance of
Deepak is having some network problem.
You can't see Deepak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's having some network.
Oh no, then it's back. He's joined us.
Yeah, so I just got disconnected again. So what happens is, similarly, during your life experience as a human being, there are a lot of things so obviously there in front of you, but you tend to miss and skip. Now, what happens in a rehearsal space in the act of theater is that we tell everyone to come with your minds open and leave all your tension, all your stress pattern just outside the rehearsal space, because there is one person who is seeing the overall growth and development of the scene per se. And if there are changes that are spotted and the level goes down from the previous days, then there's a worry of what happened. And in most cases, that happens in a particular actor is because of stress patterns. There's no one in the world who can take that away. Well, we can only request you all at times that when you come into the rehearsal space, leave that behind. And that's when you tend to, do away with a few things that are so very relevant in every day-to-day life right in front of your eyes. But that's the beauty that at times you tend to miss because your levels of stress are high, or you have few other tensions lurking in your mind. It's like how you miss a person's smile. And all these good things that you see in life, like the sound of the breeze in the mountains, like the birds chirping. I have asked young people that what are the noises that that you hear are familiar with your ears. You'll be surprised that they come up these days with sounds like the washing machine, the music in my cousin's laptop, or the clock, the fridge, the automation on the fridge that goes tick 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 tick, or my mother's hair dryer, the mixie in the kitchen, the car zooming in front of my house, the honking which happens. These are sounds that are familiar with people these days. Now, there's no reason you cannot avoid them. Of course, you can, but then you can filter them, and you can also listen to the birds chirping around you if they are there, the gushing of water, the wind that cries Mary, that sweetness with a person in a person's smile. Those are the things that don't easily catch our eyes these days. You can also like a person by his walk, the way the person walks. But how many of you think that you observe the person's walk? It's only at times when you discuss these things that it becomes handy and operational, because otherwise you only glance and graze at the outward beauty of the person. But there are a lot of other elements involved, and those are the elements that we try to observe and bring it in a package for everyone when we get an act together. It's the brain drain of various nice observations that you see and feel around you, which you try to put into an act. And that's where we collaboratively work together in a theater space. And the director has nothing to do there. You'd better only sit and observe how the things are shaping up. And that's why I say, when I sit in a chair, although I am no director, I'm only striving to do a better exercise on the lines of theater. But when I sit on that chair, I actually sit and only observe the others, what's happening on the lines of progress. And I do exactly what I said in the beginning, nothing.
Very well said.
And with all my love to all the people who have shared my life in the process of the creative form of theater, so far in my 25 years and 27 years with the craft, I really take a bow. I rise and take a bow for all of them. I can't help but state that you've been such a great attraction towards my growth as a human being. I have no words to express. I am all for a live performance, but I just can't do without all of you. Thank you so much. And with that, I would like to, end my bit in this lovely workshop, guided by the Northeast Writers Forum, which is a very part of my family, and Penchant. I thank you for tolerating me. Of course, you can't help but like Sonia, but also thank you so much, everyone here yesterday and people who've seen me on the social forums. Thank you so much for tolerating me and for giving me a patient hearing. Thank you so much. I love you more than you can think I would be able to. Act the way you would like to be, and you'll soon realize that you be the way you act. Thank you and good afternoon. Have a fantastic journey of life ahead.
Thank you.
Lots of
Well
love.
spoken. Very well spoken.
Sonia, over to you.
Yeah, so thank you so much. I'd also like to thank everyone once again, because honestly, yes, the lockdown did make our lives a little mundane, but I think that's where we really need more creatives coming up and doing something like this. It really helps us to keep ourselves engaged and to keep our creative juices churning and keeps us active on our toes. I feel like maybe a lot of us, I perhaps woke up very early these past 2 days, and it really helped me. Unlike Dikamsa, who wakes up at 3:30 in the morning, for me, it was a real great start to wake up again at 5 and to take a bath early, get ready early, get your clothes ironed. It brought in a lot of discipline, and I think that's one thing I absolutely love about theatre: the discipline that it also inculcates. All theatre artists, the really good ones I've met, are all very disciplined people, very, very punctual, like I mentioned earlier yesterday as well. So thank you so much once again, Northeast Writers Forum. We hope we were able to add a little drama to your life, add a little color to these 2 days that you were engaged with us. And yeah, I'd just like to say one thing. I read it the other day. It's a very beautiful quote that says, "Theater is a weapon, and that is why it's worth fighting for." So I'm so glad that we did this. And let's hope that this is just the beginning of many more to come. So thank you once again, Penchant. Thank you, Northeast Writers Forum. And yeah, have a great Sunday. Let's have many more of these in the months and years ahead.
And before I turn to the host this morning, let's not just forget that this is the only work that you can call play. My cheers to the craft for theatre. Thank you once again so very much for giving us a patient hearing for the past day and today. Thank you once again. Mwah. Lots of love.
Love
Sonia,
you,
you have
Deekom.
to-
Thank you. Thank you.
Sonia, I have to end for everybody.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.
Sonia and Deekom, thank you. Love you, both
Thank
of you.
you for tuning in. Got to learn so much from all of you. Not just share, but also learned a lot. So that's great. Thank you.
Very
Bye.
much, Sonia. Thank you very much, Deekom. It was very, very
Bye-bye.
interesting. Very, bye. Rashmi, thank you.